Welcome. This is MoneyHeart, where we explore the emotional side of money. I'm Camille Diaz, and today we're discussing emotional spending. My guest is Erin Gore. She's the founder of Cheers to Financial Freedom, a company that focuses on teaching the fundamental basics of personal finance so you can achieve financial freedom no matter your lifestyle. Founded in 2021, after being an economics and personal finance teacher in the public schools, Erin found a huge disconnect from adults on the true fundamentals of personal finance. She decided that it was time to make it her life mission to change the conversation about personal finance and help anyone, regardless of age, find freedom when it comes to their personal finance situation. Erin received her BS in marketing from Arizona State University and her master's in education from Regent University. Currently, Erin teaches on OutSchool, Burn Along, and through her own private business. Erin, welcome to MoneyHeart.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah, very glad to have you on the show. Just like you are working to change the conversation around personal finance, so are we. So excited to have you on MoneyHeart. Tell me, what is your specialty in the personal finance space?
So I was in the schools, and the thing that I heard most often was from the parents at conferences. And they were like, where was this class when I was in high school? And where can I take it now? And that really kind of hit home with me. And so when I came out to Arizona during the pandemic, I took a lot of time to think about that. And I thought, like, how can I change something? How can I make it better? And Cheers to Financial Freedom was born. And for the last year, I've been working on my baby, just like we would in real life. And just actually recently, I realized where I want to focus my change on the conversation on personal finance. And that really came from my partnership with Burn Along. Burn Along is an online health and wellness platform, and they focus on all aspects of your well-being, your physical, your emotional, your mental, your nutrition, and your financial. And when I thought of it in that way, I was like, that makes sense. Like, if you're struggling in one area, you're going to be struggling in all the areas.
Right.
And last week, it dawned on me that I finally found myself a title, which, again, when you're bringing up a baby, things come and they progress just like you would a child in real life. And I love that I am your holistic financial healer. So I'm not going to fix your problems for you because that's your job, but I'm going to help you learn through fundamentals, through financial literacy, how to fix it for yourself. I'm going to help you heal yourself. And that's the key, is you got to take responsibility and then heal yourself with help from others. We go to the gym, we get a trainer, we go to the doctor, they give us help, they help us to heal, but it's still our responsibility to take the medications or to change our nutrition. So I'm here to help you heal your finances.
I like that concept of taking responsibility for yourself, for your finances, for what you want to have happen in your life. It's kind of, I don't know if I want to say easy, but one of those things where I hear people with the money, oh, I just have bad luck with money. Oh, I just don't, it's just kind of like an excuse, throw your hands up. Can't really change my money situation. It's just not working out. You know, and so I like that you're pointing out, oh, it's kind of up to you. So you do it or you don't do it, but it's going to be what you make it. So I love that. What are some of the first concepts that you usually share with people? What's the most important for us to know in this space as we're trying to build our wealth mindset and rebuild our financial future?
So it's a lot of, not just financial, but overall well-being. When you look at your overall well-being, what's the first thing that's been instituted into you when you were little? And that's your values. And you get your values usually from your parents, first and foremost. They were your first teachers. And
Sure.
so what they value is what they institute into you. And then for the first 18 years of your life, you are pretty much expected to value what your parents valued. And along the way, you start to actually go to school and get teachers, and they start to influence you. And then if you go to college or trade school or military, then you get more teachers that are influencing you. And in your 20s, you start to realize maybe I don't really like the values that my parents instituted in me. Maybe, you know what, this isn't for me, and I want to search in a different area. And so, understanding where your values are and what they are will then help you determine your needs and your wants, which is the next step in the process, is figuring out what is a need to you and what is a want to you. So the majority of us are like, oh, needs, those are easy. Those are the things we need to survive. We have to have them: our food, our water, our shelter, clothing, fire. Yeah, those are all needs. But when we start to implement and perceive values into the situation, our needs and our wants change.
So
And
this is really interesting because when we hear the concept of needs and value, needs and wants, right? You're just thinking needs, wants. Many people have heard that with the budget conversation before of, you figure out what you need, you budget for that, you figure out what you want. If you have extra left over, you can do that. And we all kind of go, oh, they're going to tell me I can't have anything fun or do the things I want to do, and that I have to be miserable if I want to be financially successful. And I
yes,
know that's not your thing. So I just wanted
no,
to bring it up before somebody tunes out and they're like, needs and wants, I'm out. So
no,
this is so
and
cool that you're tying it to values, because that is way more important. So go ahead.
so with needs and wants, yes, we need to take care of our needs first. But I like to use the example of coffee, because some people need coffee to survive. I'm one of them. You do not want to see me first thing in the morning without my cup of coffee. Now, technically, coffee is not a need. If you follow the 5 needs, it doesn't fall under that. It would be a want. But for me, my perception of my value is I need coffee. Now, do I need to go to Starbucks every day to get my cup of coffee, or can I make my cup of coffee at home? And that's where the needs versus wants comes into play as we become adults. And we get off of this mindset that you have to take care of your needs first, and then you can move on to wants. No, I'm all about life and leisure. If you can't have fun during life, why are you doing it?
Yep.
But you have to build in the fun, build in the leisure, while still taking care of the things that are absolutely necessary first. And you don't know what's absolutely necessary until you look at your values.
Okay. So how do you recommend we sort of figure out what our values are? Do you have like an exercise, or is there a quiz? Like, do I check my
So,
stars? I don't know.
so this is something that you have to sit down with yourself.
Mhm.
And whether that's journaling, reading articles about values, having a one-on-one with me, and we look at, okay, what do you value? What do you look at? Look at your budget for the last couple of months and see, where are you spending your money? Because guess what, that's an indicator of what you value. If you're going to Nordstrom and buying your clothing at Nordstrom, you value something in Nordstrom.
Right.
Whereas if you're going to Walmart, you value something completely different. And so looking at how you've spent your money in the past is a great indicator of what you value and how you value it. If you go to Starbucks every day, there's something that you value about that Starbucks cup of coffee. And we're in a world where we all can make choices for ourselves and make our individual choices. And if you want to make Starbucks happen every single day, guess what? You can. You just may have to give up something else in exchange for it. And that's where we look at trade-offs and opportunity costs, which all of these are like the very first lesson that I teach anybody that's coming into personal finance for the first time, is looking at your values, looking at your needs, your wants. And then if there is something that you want that everybody else says, well, that's not a need, that's a want. Okay, so what do we have to give up to get that? And that's where your trade-offs come up. And what are we giving up? What's happening because we're giving it up? That's our opportunity costs. And figuring out, is that something I'm willing to give up so that I can do A?
Okay, so really taking a look. So if you, let's say you want the Starbucks coffee every day, and then you take a look at your budget and figure out, okay, so I'm spending over here, and I have, my, who knows, Netflix subscription over here that keeps getting tacked onto my credit card every month and I'm not paying it off. So I decide if I want to maybe skip, a day a week to pay for my Netflix. So that would be,
Right.
determining my trade-off is my opportunity cost is I'm running up debt on something else because I'm buying the more expensive option at breakfast. So,
Yes. And
okay.
I like to use the example because I think this one is one that resonates with everybody. Say you have $1,000 and you need to pay your rent or you buy a new iPhone. If you bought the iPhone, your trade-off is you gave up rent. What happens because you didn't pay your rent? You get evicted. You have to go live on mom and dad's couch. All of those are the opportunity costs of giving up rent for the iPhone.
Right. Which you can do.
You can. You're
It's
just going to be finding a place to live.
right.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing that is the beauty of personal finance, is that first word, personal. We all have a personal journey. We are all doing this on our own. Yes, some of us are in couples, but it's still a personal journey.
Right.
And so finding how you want it to be, and it's going to be different than every other individual out there.
I like that idea of knowing, well, one, your finances are personal. They're yours. They're how you want it to be. And I love this construct that you have like kind of broken down for us of you have to have the same needs and wants as everybody else. If you want, like you said, coffee, then people are like, no, that's a want. You don't have to have that. You don't need that to survive. And you're like, no, honey, I need coffee. That goes in my need list.
Yes. And that's
Go
that's
ahead.
the thing. And that's one of the things that really bothers me about a lot of the Dave Ramsey's and Susie Ormond's of the world, is they're very set on, okay, this is a need, you have to, and this is a want. But no, we have different heartbeats. We have different feet that we walk on. We have different eyes. We can't make this one size fits all for personal finance. And I think for too long that has happened, that everyone's viewed it as, if you don't follow these steps, you're not succeeding. Well, we all have different careers. We all have different lifestyles. So how can we make this one size fit all personal finance situation for individuals?
Yeah, I love that. I love that if you don't have to follow somebody else's plan to be doing it right, you just have to make a plan that will actually work for you, because everybody's got, different income, different expenses, different things that they want to do for fun, different, stuff they want to buy. It doesn't make sense to try to have nope, that goes in that box, that goes in that box. You're not allowed to do this and you're not allowed to do that, and give up all the things you love and, hate your life, but have lots of money. What?
And then why are you doing it? And I remember back into my retail management days, and I look at, okay, you hire how many cashiers to run a store? You're paying them the same amount every time that they work, but they don't come to work the exact same. They don't look the same. They're not doing the same things because we're still individuals at heart.
Yeah.
And so we got to make sure that we're treating our finances that way, that it's personal.
Right. So let's jump back to this kind of concept of emotional spending. Sometimes we get stuck in the I need this, because now we've established you can need whatever you need and you
Right.
can want whatever you want and you can figure out which one's which. How do you help people to not make, I guess I want to say big, I don't want to call them mistakes because it's not necessarily a mistake, but how to not stick to the, when we screw up and we're like, I really thought that I was on the plan and now I fell off the plan because I got all excited about a thing and went and did it. And that now I've totally forgotten about the opportunity cost, completely forgotten everything that I learned, and I messed it all up. And how do I get it back on track? Like, how do you kind of get people through that? Because we emotionally see something and we're at the fair or the shopping, the
Oh yeah.
mall or whatever, and then we
I'm
come
number
home
one at
like,
that. I'm number one at that, where it's like, oh, I see something, I love it, I'm gonna buy it, and then I'm like, oh man, why did I do that?
yeah, why did I do
And
that?
and the thing is, we think about it, and we're looking at this overall well-being picture. We eat a really bad dinner one night and totally throw our diet, and we're like, oh my gosh, I just ate like 5,000 calories in one meal,
And they were so good.
and
And
they
now
were
I feel
so
terrible.
good. And you're beating yourself up after it.
Yeah.
But we go back on the diet. We don't let that continue. We go to the doctor, we find out we're sick, we, miss a day of our medication. We don't stop taking our medication completely. We just go the next day and we start over. It's the same thing with finances. You're going to have slip ups because we're all human and we make mistakes. And it's okay to make a mistake. There's going to be a month where you spend more than you earn. That's okay. That's why we have savings. It's when you're continuously doing that same mistake over and over and over again. Then we have to get to the deeper issues. Why are we doing it? What is the emotion behind why we continuously do what we do? And that's where you really have to look at yourself and say, okay, why am I doing this? Why do I keep sabotaging my finances when I know what I'm supposed to do? And then you again go back to those values, those needs and your wants and say, okay, maybe this isn't so much a want. Maybe this isn't so much a need like I thought it was. Maybe it's actually more of a want. And I need to change my thinking around it to be like, okay, I can't spend $500 at Nordstrom every single month when I don't have the ability to pay it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And to go back to the values and figure out what really was important to you, because when you've connected your behavior to your values, you'll stop sabotaging yourself.
Right.
You'll do what aligns with your values all the time. So because that's easy.
Yeah.
We just sometimes forget what the values are. Yeah.
And that's the thing, and that's why you really, before you do anything, when you start a financial journey to better yourself, and again, across the board, whether it's, your physical, you sit down and what do I value? I'm not a runner. I will not run. I hate running. I hated it when I was in elementary school. I don't do it. So when I look at exercise, I look at other points of exercise because I know I'm not a runner.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept when it comes to finances. You have to determine what you are and what you're not. And that comes back to your values. Like, what do you value? And how does that form your money spending?
Mm-hmm. And that's a great point that you just made of looking at other forms of exercise. It's not that you cut out exercise altogether. I don't like to run. I'm never exercising. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
So many other types of exercise out there. You can bike, you can swim, you can walk, you could go hiking, which is kind of just walking in a hilly area. You can, all kinds of stuff that you can do. Maybe you want to do a dance class or you like gymnastics or who knows, one of those video things or play volleyball or baseball, like so much stuff. But I hate running, so exercise out, like that's
Right.
kind of how we look at it. Is like, oh, I'm bad at this, done. yeah, just done. Whereas there's so many variations, you can totally mix it up and make changes and different choices. And yeah, it's really like being open to the idea that maybe there's more than one possibility here.
And that's the thing with personal finance that I think we're seeing coming out of the pandemic is we were locked in our houses for 2 years. We've had time to think about things. And now we're like, okay, I didn't like that about me before. So let's go ahead and change that. Or, I really miss doing this. And I'm going to go ahead and start implementing that back into your life. And again, that's coming back to your values. When you say, I really miss doing this, then you valued that. You got something out of that. And so now you can say, okay, I value going to the movies. I miss going to the movies. So now you put in your budget the amount of money it takes you to go to the movies.
Right.
And then when you look at your whole pie chart of where your money's going percentage based, you can mix and match that all up. As long as it doesn't equal more than 100%, you're good. If you're over 100%, then we've got to work on something.
Yeah. Time to make some choices. Yeah.
And that's where your trade-offs and opportunity costs come into play.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know because I didn't get to ask you this before we started, but in talking about values, have you heard of John DeMartini?
I have not.
Okay, so I'm going to recommend this for you and for our listeners. All of his work is based on values. In fact, he wrote a book called The Values Factor, and it's all about figuring out what your values are and showing that nobody is bad at anything. Nobody is like lazy. We will all work in the areas we value. If we don't value something, we're probably not going to do it. And so, it's all of trying to, like, if you're trying to inspire your kids to clean their room, well, they're not going to clean their room for your reasons. Like, hey, my friends are coming over and I want your room to be clean when my friends see it. But they will clean their room for their reasons. Like, I want to leave and go hang out with my friends. So my room has to be clean because that's what I do before. So it's all about putting things in perspective of somebody's values. And I think that he does have some material on his website to go figure out, help narrow down what your values are and figure it out. So yeah, just one I thought I'd throw in there because since we've talked about values so much, it might be helpful. Tell me what you are most excited about right now. What are you working on? What's coming up?
So I have been rebuilding my website, cheerstofinancialfreedom.com, and hopefully within the next couple of months, I'll be launching a weekly blog where I can start to really go deeper into some of the areas that we talk about. I'm really excited that I came up with the whole holistic financial healer and really going to run with that, seeing like how we can tie finances into our overall well-being, and looking at our values, needs, and wants and how they really impact what we do. And when I teach the rest of the classes on insurance and taxes and retirement and all of that, it really comes into play. I love when you think about taxes, everybody gets this really negative connotation, like, oh, taxes are due again. Why do I pay for that? But when we value what we have in a community and we realize that the taxes are paying for our communities, it starts to click a little bit more like, oh, I don't want to drive on dirt roads every day. I don't want to have to pay to have a police officer come to my house because someone broke in. That's why I pay taxes. Oh, okay, now I understand. And then you don't feel so bad when you have to pay that tax bill at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So really tying in those values, needs, and wants into the other areas of our life.
I love that because they really do run through everything. And all of the stuff that you mentioned is the things most people tend to run from. They don't want to know about credit. They don't want to know about taxes. They definitely don't want to talk about insurance. Like all of that stuff, just like, oh. when you understand how it serves your values, how it protects you, how it provides for you, how it makes things more comfortable for you, all of that, then all you, oh, okay, well, I guess that might be useful after all.
And that's the thing, like you just brought up insurance. I think of like none of us want to think about what happens after we're not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But do you value your kids and your family being taken care of after you're not here anymore. And so when I teach it in that aspect of life insurance isn't for you, it's for your family, for you to take care of your family after you're not here, then they're like, oh yeah, I do value having my kids taken care of. What happens to me if they're young and I am not here? How are they going to survive?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like these little light bulb moments go off.
Yeah.
Click, click. And you're like, okay, you're finally getting it. And that's where I'm here to bring in those fundamentals again that 90% of us didn't learn because it hasn't been in the schools for the last 50 years. It's just starting to come into the schools.
Right.
So let's go back and really learn that so that we can then learn how our values play into that.
Yeah, I remember in school, the most I learned were things like how to write a check and address an envelope and, balance the little lines on your checkbook, which is cool. Like, that's good. Not that anybody uses checks now.
Right.
But except for me when I'm trying to avoid the extra charge for using my credit card. Like if they're like, I'm going to charge you 2.5% or 3% for using your credit card, I'm like, hold on, let me get my checkbook. Because I do not value spending extra money if I don't have to.
And that, like you just said, you don't value that. That's the one thing. Like I just had patio work done and they gave us 5% off by writing a check. And I'm like, I value 5% off.
That's right.
Like I will physically write that check so that I get that discount.
Yep.
And that's where we have to get back to as a society. Like, yes, it's great we're going to this cashless society, but we're also losing the time to really think about what we're doing because everything's becoming instinctual. You go on Amazon, you click, and it's on your doorstep the next day. Did you really think about that purchase, or did it just happen?
Yeah.
And so somehow figuring out how to bring that time back into play to give yourself a chance. Okay, is that something I really need, or is that just an impulse want buy?
I love that you brought this up because I just did this week. I actually, and I'm a huge fan of Amazon. I have the Prime thing. I do not hit the buy now button. I'm afraid of that button. I always add it to my cart and then I go back and look at it. And I'm like, did I pick the right thing? Because I don't trust myself to like pick the right one and then the wrong thing shows up.
Yeah.
My daughter and I were shopping and we found some fabric and we're like, oh my gosh, this fabric is amazing. It would make a great skirt. And everybody who listens to the show knows I do costumes like crazy. So of course I'm like, oh, this is perfect. It goes with so many costume things that we have. We love it. We both loved it. And I was like, okay, we have to actually sew the skirt. So let's not get it today because this was totally not what we were supposed to be doing. Not why we're here. We'll come back, think about it overnight. Come back tomorrow if we still want it. And then this was yesterday that we went back and it was the weekend and we're like, I really don't want to leave the house. I still really want that fabric.
Right.
Let's go. And so it's like 7:00 at night and we got in the car and we went and we got the fabric and we came back because we actually really wanted to make the skirt, committed to doing the project, like found a pattern, all of that stuff. So we're in. But it was that, what, I wasn't sure if I just saw, oh, shiny. And I was like, going to buy it, instantly. I thought, let's wait and make sure that I'm actually committed to getting this thing made and using it and that it will match what we have and it's all going to be good. So I'm glad that you brought that up because it really is a good strategy of like, hey, just wait, even a couple of hours will calm you down. From that
a lot of people and a lot of experts do recommend waiting 24 hours, especially for your big purchases. Wait 24 hours, put it in your cart for 24 hours. Now, the fun thing that a lot of us don't realize is when you put it in your cart and you don't purchase it right away, companies get a note that it's in your cart. And then they're like, oh, why aren't they buying it? Why aren't they buying it? Maybe we should send them an email to give them an extra % off so that they buy it. And all of a sudden in like a day or two, you get an email. Hey, we still see that this is in your cart. We'll give you an extra 10% if you buy it today. And now you've saved money because you waited.
I love that. I usually delete those emails because if it's in my cart, I'm like, stop telling me. I'm trying to forget about it. But that is a great tip that they might give you a coupon.
They might
because you left it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And
That's true.
especially with some of the smaller businesses, some of the businesses that it's just automatic, like they're like, look, they get the thing, they're like, oh, wait, that's been sitting in the cart, and their AI actually sends it to you.
It does. Yeah. It triggers after a certain number of hours that it's been in the cart that it'll just send you, hey, did you forget about this thing? And I'm like, yeah, I was trying to. But good strategy if it is something you want to leave it and, wait a couple days and see if it happens to send you the discount if you know it's something you wanted anyway. I always
Right.
believe that a discount is only a discount if you were already going to buy the thing. It's
Yes.
not a discount if it makes you buy it when you did not have that budgeted.
Yes. And that's where your needs versus wants come into play. Just because it's on sale does not make it a need. It's
Yes.
one of those things that, were you thinking about buying it anyway? Okay, then we'll go ahead and get it at sale, because you're
Right.
only saving money if it was something you were going to purchase to begin with.
Yes. Yes. So true. This has been so much fun. Thank you
Thank
for joining
you.
me today and taking the time to chat. I really loved it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you would like to get in touch with Erin, you can send her an email at erin@cheerstofinancialfreedom.com. She's most active on Instagram, so you can follow her there at Cheers to Financial Freedom. Thanks as well to all of our listeners and viewers. I'm your host, Camille Diaz. I'm a business optimization coach, financial educator, author, and speaker. You can contact me and find out what I'm up to through my website, CamilleDiaz.com, and follow me on social media at Cam Unfiltered. Be sure to follow MoneyHeart at MoneyHeart Show, and our website is MoneyHeartShow.com. Erin, would you like to share today's money mantra?
All right. So today's money mantra is, you can change your conversation around emotions in regards to personal finance.
Yes, you can. I think we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.